Chelsea have a reputation of developing some of the best players in football at the prestigious Cobham Academy, with some of the best players in the world at the moment spending time at the Chelsea Academy setup, such as Michael Olise, Declan Rice, Reece James and Jamal Musiala. This video will tell you 5 of the best next up youngsters who will go on to have top careers and which ones can leave their mark at Chelsea. So the first player we got, Keano D. He is one of the most highly rated players in the Chelsea youth setup. He is 17 years old but is playing in the under-21s team, 4 years above his age category. He's always been playing above his age group, but he is able to perform so well and stand out due to his incredible technical ability, his touch, his receiving it on the back foot. He's so good at dribbling with the ball, driving forward. His position is a number 6, or he can play as a number 8, but at the moment he kind of plays as a deep line playmaker who receives the ball deep and makes the passes forwards, but also drives forwards because he is small and quick. He's slippery. So yeah, he has a small frame which may go against him potentially in his future career, but he's only 17, so he can grow. And to tell how highly rated this guy is, he has represented England at under 15, under 16, under 17, under 18 and under 19 level. And like I said, he's still 17 years old. He is often pictured training with the first team, and I think even was training with the first team last season under Pochettino. So Keano D is one of the most highly rated players at the Chelsea Academy and probably one of my favourites. When you watch him play, he is just so incredibly talented at football, which is why he's pretty good. He normally partners Jimmy Turenian, the Finnish midfielder last season, who's a massive bulldozer basically. So together he has a big destructive midfielder next to him, and then he's got the silky technique. But this season so far it's kind of been Alex Matos, but again it's kind of a big destructive midfielder. They work well together, it's a good dynamic. He says his idols are Xavi and Iniesta, and you can tell. Retains possession so well, makes the right passes all the time and is patient with his play. And what we're going to do for each player, I'm going to say where they could potentially fit into the Chelsea team in the future. Now he is 17, he's probably not going to be starting anytime soon really, but he does really suit this Lavia role under Enzo Maresca. The base of the midfield, what Rodri does for Man City, receives the ball half-term and dribbles forwards or passes it forwards, but recycles possession really well. He could be very, very good for that, and Maresca could really mould Keano D into this sort of perfect midfielder. If Keano D can play that role that Maresca sees, then I think we could have a really, really talented player on our hands and could really do things for the first team at some point. For me, he must be kept and his development must be prioritized over anyone else in the youth setup. I think he really, really could, because you see Rodri, he's been priced about £100 million. You see Declan Rice, I know he plays a bit more for further forwards, but he was so expensive for Arsenal. Caicedo, Enzo, these expensive midfielders, we literally got the potential in one of these. And personally, I don't even think he'll need a loan. So like Phil Foden, Oscar Bob or Rico Lewis at Man City, they never went out on loan, but they have kind of worked their way into the first team by their development being right in front of Pep Guardiola and under his influence. So yeah, watch out for Keano D, I can't emphasize enough. So next up we have Tyreek George, and he has been playing for the first team. He's probably the most well known out of my top 10 list. So I forgot to mention, this is top 5, and then next video I've got another 5. I'm going to mention the names at the end, but then we'll go into detail in the next video. But Tyreek George is well known to most Chelsea fans, I think now. He is kind of too good for academy football nowadays, and I think maybe in January he could get a championship level loan or something. He's 18 years old, and just the other day he scored a second half hat-trick against Brentford Academy. He has been at Chelsea since under 8, so he is one of our own basically, and he's very quick, he's a dribbler, he's strong and tall, both footed, and also has an insane shot on him. He's just got very good technique with everything to do with football. He has everything you want for a winger, and to be honest, when he's been given his chance, he has impressed, and potentially even more than Mudryk, who he spent £60 million on. Noni Madueke has said he is a one to look out for because he really believes in his ability. So he played in pre-season, he played against Wrexham and came off the bench against Servette recently and did alright. However, I don't think he'll get much of a chance with our current left wing situation. Neto, Mudryk, Sancho, and then remember Sterling comes back from loan next season. We'll hopefully be able to sell him, but he did sign a 3-year +1 contract extension in June till 2028, so he is gonna hopefully be at Chelsea for a long time, and he is very highly rated, and I think wherever he will be in the future, he will be probably a top Premier League player, and I hope he does have a future at Chelsea. But with our like Neto, Sancho, Mudryk, all of long contracts, I want him to get a chance, and his development cannot be stunted. Maybe he just keeps going on loan, or maybe we eventually sell him somewhere and put a buyback clause in or a sell-on clause. At the end of the day, Murray Hutchinson was a really highly rated player and I really liked him, but We sold him for £25 million profit. But I do think Tyreek George is one of these elite players that the sporting directors are trying to identify in the world. And it would just be a bit sad if he's been at Chelsea since under-8s and then he like gets sold for pure profit and becomes a world beater, because he really does have everything to do that. But I think wingers are easier to come by than Keano D, and Tyreek George, although he's a great winger, like I said, Sancho looked really good in the last game. Pedro Neto, we know what he can do, and even Mudryk, he's not been great at Chelsea, but I do think that there's a really good player in there somewhere. So Tyreek George, I think, will need some English Championship level loans before he even gets a chance to push his way into the first team. But he is nipping at Mudryk's heels right now as maybe our third choice left winger. Thirdly, Harrison McMahon. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's 18 as well. He is a versatile midfielder, a number 6 or a number 8, but he's very hardworking and reads the game well. He's more probably industrial than Keano D. I think that's fair to say. He's probably similar to Conor Gallagher. Like, he's not the most technically gifted player, but he's very good at football, of course. He's captained under 18s Chelsea teams. He's now part of the under 21s and he's 18. So yeah, you've got to be very good to be doing that. But potentially, like, we're looking for one of these elite players. I don't know if the sporting directors would class him as elite or not. It does scream of Conor Gallagher. Very good players and very impactful. But at the end of the day, I think a player like Harrison McMahon would be easier to come by, again, a bit more common than a Keano D. Although he's a great player, I think if he were to really keep going with his trajectory, he would probably most likely play the Enzo role to the left of like Palmer or Esteval or Kendrick Pies or whoever that is, but in front of Lavia or Keano D. But in my opinion, I think he could potentially be sold for pure profit after maybe a few loans. He is only 18 and he seems like a great player, very good player, but I don't know if he's the sort of player that Chelsea and Enzo Maresca will put all their trust in and involve in the elite squad that we're going to try and win a Champions League in. But again, great player if you get to watch him play football. Before I forget, Chelsea have not been streaming or showing the academy games this season, apart from the Brentford one the other day. They played it for free on their website, and that's really good. But we need to see more academy football because, I mean, everyone watches Chelsea for Chelsea, but getting invested in the academy is actually very interesting. And I think the fans should be given a chance to watch it when possible. Next up, Josh Acheampong. He was with Tyreek George on the summer 2024 senior squad that went to the United States for pre-season, and yeah, him, Tyreek George were the only ones from the academy. He is 18 years old. His position, sort of a right back / centre back. He played central centre back against Brentford, but I think he's probably best suited to a right-sided centre back or just a right back. He signed his first professional contract in January, but has been training with the first team squad, so basically a lot of 2024 under Pochettino, but also with Maresca because he went with the team to the United States tour. And that is because if the left back inverted in Enzo Maresca's system, he would suit Maresca's system perfectly as a right back, but in possession shifts over to a right centre back role, but probably could even do a right back inverted into midfield like Malo, but he'd need a bit more training for that. He's really comfortable in possession, but his ability, his defensive one-on-one defensive ability is also very good. But then also, he's so good at football that he can overlap as a right back and drive forward with the ball. He has all the quality already that Enzo Maresca would want from that sort of player, but he just needs a bit more experience. I don't even know if he'd need a loan. I think maybe he could be integrated into the team without a loan and just work his way into the team. His competition is Reece James and Malo for that position, and one always seems unavailable. So I think there would be chances for Acheampong to really push on, force his way into the team. He is 18, so it'd be a while till he actually starts starting. He is strong and tall for his age and really good aerial ability, and he can still grow physically too because he is only 18. And lastly, there were reports in the summer saying that PSG and Real Madrid were both interested, but we kept him, and I think we must keep him because Josh Acheampong, I think, could be classed as one of these elite talents. I mean, it's always hard to say because they're still young and you never know what happens in someone's career like Jack Wilshere, but you can sort of see patterns and follow a trajectory, and if Josh Acheampong keeps following his trajectory, then oh my goodness, he could have a real impact on Chelsea in the future. I think it would be so great to see maybe 3-4 years time Acheampong at maybe right back, Keano D as in a base in the midfield, Tyreek George out at left wing, so we can hope and pray. And lastly, for this video, Ishe Samuel Smith. He is basically a Josh Acheampong, but with a left foot and inverse on the other hand side. He's 6'1" and 18. He plays a sort of left back / centre back role, like Acheampong plays a right back / centre back role. And for Enzo Maresca, right now the left back inverts into the back three as a centre back, which suits Samuel Smith down to a T. But he can also play like left back or an attacking left wing back. So again, Acheampong, but on the other side. He did join Chelsea at the age of 17 from Everton because he was very highly rated. The sporting directors obviously identified him as a very good player that they want for the academy and potentially for the future. And we paid a decent fee for him. It was 5 million euros as he was very highly rated. At the age of 17, that is a crazy amount. He is very good defensively as well, but he does like to bomb forwards. And in the Brentford game, he bombed forward, did just that, and forced an own goal in the 6-3 victory. So I can't see him leaving Chelsea anytime soon. I reckon this whole season he'll stay with the academy and maybe get a loan next year to, again, a championship team. That seems to be the best place to develop your football. For Chelsea, I think it's a physical league, it's English football, and you don't need to really push the boat out and go to like a France or an Italy or a Portugal, learn a new language, even though the weather would be a million times nicer. However, with Ishe Samuel Smith, I don't think he's had as much first team involvement as the others. Acheampong really has, Tyreek George really has. They're always in training with the first team, or not always, but often. Keano D is often in training as well. Harrison McMahon, I forgot to mention, he was named in the squad for the Servette game, but didn't make the bench in the end, so I'm not sure what happened there. But Samuel Smith, yeah, I don't think he trains with the first team as much, and he definitely hasn't made his debut. Although Tyreek George is the only one to make the professional debut in this video. And I think, again, if Samuel Smith follows his development trajectory, he could be very good for Chelsea in the future. Like I said, a very good system play for Maresca if he wants that sort of left back shifting into a back three. And like I said, we signed him when he was 17, he's 18 now, so we wouldn't sell him anytime soon. Maybe sell him for a bit of profit in 1 or 2 years, but I think maybe a loan and then, yeah, maybe some first team action further down the line. But I don't think he's one to look out for 100%. Plays for the England academy setup again, like the other guys. And he is very highly rated. I think he will probably make his debut for Chelsea this season. Same with all of these players. I reckon they'll all make their debut, potentially in the Conference League or something. And maybe it's because we signed from Everton a year or two ago. I don't have as much of an emotional connection as Acheampong or Tyreek George, who have been at Chelsea for a very long time. But you've got to support these players, and I really do hope all of these guys have good careers for Chelsea, or if not for Arsenal or Spurs, something like that. So if you enjoyed this video, I will be making another one with another 5 players. I'll list them right now. Jimmy J. Morgan's going to be in it. Brody Hughes, Alex Matos, Acheampong, and Frankie Runham are going to be the next 5 in the next video. So do check that one out if you enjoyed this. Comment your thoughts on any of these players, like the video, and subscribe if you are new. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.